Hello, this is the Math 159 Gould Section 1 Chapter 1 Section 2 video. And this will be about classifying and storing data. Okay, so in StatCrunch, all of your data resides in what's called the data frame. And the data frame basically looks like an Excel worksheet, if you've ever seen that before, or a Google Docs worksheet. Okay, it's organized in rows and columns. Okay, so all this data is in this thing called the data frame. It's organized in rows and columns. Oops, I can't spell. And let's start writing things down here. Let me activate my pen. There we go. Okay, wait. Let me pause this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so all your data is organized in rows and columns, and it's in the data frame. So what do we mean by data? Let me change that to blue. So data is the characteristics of your subjects. Let me type that in here. Oops, I'll just type it, write it. So it's the characteristics of your subjects. Okay, so basically you're gonna have some sort of driving question. And the subjects are the things which you are studying, that which you are studying. Okay, it could be people, it could be objects, it could be a process. Whether it's a person, a thing, or a animal or whatever, we're going to call it the subject. And now you have some questions about the subjects, or what happens to the subjects, or how something affects the subjects. So you are interested in the characteristics of your subjects. So these are things which you know about your subjects, which you collect information. The type of information you're collecting about your subjects. Now, in statistics, we have a special name for the characteristics of your subjects. We call these variables. Okay? And there are two types of variables. We can have categorical variables, or we can have numerical variables. Okay. Categorical variables tell you a group or a characteristic about your subject. It basically, let me give you an example. Let's say that your subjects are people. What's a characteristic that would place a person into a different category? Well, a characteristic that would place a person into a different category would be, an example of that could be gender. So gender would be a categorical variable. What else places people into categories? Maybe their level of education. Okay, so education is the level of education is a characteristic of a subject. Gender, someone's gender is a characteristic of a subject. It places that subject into different categories. Okay. And we also have numerical variables. Okay, numerical variables are characteristics which are measured or counted about the subject. So what's something that you can measure or count about a person? Well, you can measure a person's height. You can measure their weight. You can measure, I don't know, the length of their nose, all sorts of things. Okay? Notice if you were to ask, hey, what's this person's height? You would respond with a number. You can ask how many siblings a person has. Siblings is a fancy word for brothers and sisters. If I ask you how many siblings does a person have, that would be an answer which you count. If I ask you what height the height of a person, that's something that you would answer by measuring. So notice numerical variables are measured or counted. Okay. So let me go to StatCrunch and I'll give you an example of this about how this might show up in the data. Okay, so we're gonna go and I'm gonna open, one second. Okay, here we are in StatCrunch, and this is a data set or a data frame about Pokemon. Notice it's organized in rows and columns. So here we have in a row for attack. Okay, so a column for attack. Everything in this column is the attack level of a Pokemon, or let's look over here at height. This is a variable which measures the height of different Pokemon. The rows refer to different Pokemon. So I've highlighted the first 3 rows, which are Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur. Okay, in a data frame, each row refers to a subject. So if you want to look at Charizard, you would read across this row. So what is the name of the Pokemon called Charizard? It's Charizard. What type is Charizard? It's fire. What's their second type? Oops. Okay, I didn't mean for that to happen. Flying. What is Charizard's height in meters? 1.7. Okay, so you can look at all these different values. So in a data frame, the columns are the variables, the rows are a subject. So that's what I have highlighted here is about one particular Pokemon. The subjects here are Pokemon. Notice that height is something you would measure, right? It's a numerical variable because the number here stands for the measurement of the Pokemon's height. Over here, weight in kilograms is a numerical variable because the weight, 90.5, measures the weight of that Pokemon. Let's go over here and look at type 2. Type 2 is a categorical variable because this means that Charizard's second type is that they are a flying Pokemon. Now you have to be careful. Not every categorical variable I guess I should say this. Let's look at generation. Okay, just because you see numbers doesn't mean that that's a numerical variable. So here, the Charizard is generation 1. So you're only a numerical variable if the number measures or counts something. So Charizard is first generation. It's not that there's some generation, there was not some characteristic of Charizard which we measured to be 1 or counted to be 1. They actually are in the first generation, the group of first Pokemon. So this is actually a categorical variable. And if we go down further, let's scroll for a while, there's a boatload of Pokemon. Now we say second generation Pokemon. So for instance, Mareep, the Pokemon Mareep, you can see that the value for the generation variable is 2. That does not measure or count something. It places them in the second group of Pokemon. It's actually a categorical variable. And this is the end of Chapter 1, Section 2 video.